So acceleration in this 4Runner is pretty decent. Of course, it's a higher output V6, 270 horsepower, 278 pound-feet of torque. So I don't have to put my foot into it to get up and go. Of course, I would prefer a turbo powertrain because I'm still getting under 20 miles per gallon in terms of fuel mileage. But the overall ride is good. Of course, these are meant to take trails or whatever in four-wheel drive in particular. But just driving around town, you don't feel like you're in a monster truck, so kudos to Toyota for keeping that alive. Because a lot of people just like the looks of the 4Runners and I guess the capability, but they never actually use the 4Runners to their full potential, if that makes sense. But the vehicle itself is pretty easy to drive. And visibility is good for the most part. But the blind spot monitors definitely help with that. And overall, I'm hearing the wind through the vehicle, but it's not intrusive at all. Now, compared to other vehicles in this segment, which is kind of weird because the 4Runner is just kind of in a neat spot, I guess. It's not like you can compare it. I guess you could compare it to an Explorer or a Tahoe or a Traverse, but it's just kind of in its own world where everybody else has kind of gone towards something that looks like a crossover. This is still a rugged SUV at heart, almost like a Grand Cherokee. And really the new Grand Cherokees, it's kind of weird to compare it against that as well. The 4Runners have always just kind of had their niche market. So it still holds up to what that buyer is looking for, I think. It rides high, but very easy to see out of. And like I said, it has tons of capability, even in this rear-wheel drive model. Of course, I wouldn't take this out on a trail or anything, but it's still plenty capable of doing certain things. But if you just want the look of a 4Runner without actually taking it off-road, like I said, this is the way to go. Now, I do wish that they would put an 8-speed in this, just because it's kind of hard to accelerate with the 5-speed. You just can never hit that sweet spot to maximize your power. But of course, acceleration is still there. You just have to put your foot into it even when you might not need to. So we have the cruise set at 72 here, and you can see it'll start to slow us down to keep that safe distance between this vehicle and the one in front of us. So even though I have it set to 72, it's going down to 66, 65, and we're almost at 60 now. And then as we start to speed back up, the vehicle will accelerate as well. So not touching the brake or the gas pedal this entire time. So it's just keeping that distance. And let's see if I can pull up the fuel mileage here. So we're getting right at probably 23, 24. So it's better than the EPA estimates. Let's see if I can speed it up a little bit. And then as I get up to 75, we're looking right at probably that 22 mark, I think. But the wind noise is actually really dead in here, which I really like. Which is surprising coming from a vehicle like this. I would expect it to be louder in here, but it really isn't. Very impressive. And this just drives really nicely. Not a lot of play in the steering wheel. The ride is not choppy. And like I said, just really quiet in here for the most part. So all in all, really impressed with, like I said, a vehicle that has not been refreshed in ages. And it still has its market. So this will bring me to the end of my review of the new 2023 Toyota 4Runner SR5.